Hello everybody, I hope that you are well. I have been travelling for over 12 years and as you can imagine there has been a lot of travel mistakes that I have made along the way. So in this video I'm going to share with you 4 of my top travel mistakes that I have made recently and not recently and how I could have avoided them. So travel mistake number 1, it was actually pretty recently, and that is not doing travel prep that required the internet that I needed to do before I left the house. And with that, just becoming too relaxed with my preparations because this was recently and this isn't something that I should be messing up at this point. Basically, I did not sort out my travel eSIM before I left my house in the UK. I was on my way to backpack Georgia and I had a layover in Istanbul and I thought, oh, it's fine. I have a few hours in Istanbul. I'll do all the preparation that I need to do there, including getting my eSIM and whatnot. But I arrived in Istanbul airport and guess what? No Wi-Fi, or there was Wi-Fi, it just absolutely was not working and I tried every single network that I could whilst I was there. And honestly, this just led to a cannonball of events that went downhill from there. I hadn't yet downloaded the Georgian currency on my XE currency app. So when I arrived in Georgia, I didn't even know how much cash to get out because I did not know how that was going to convert. I then also didn't have internet to check what the taxi price should have been, if there was any taxi apps and downloading them, which there was. So I was just feeling pretty hopeless when I arrived into Georgia in the middle of the night. I thought, what's the worst that could happen if I asked the taxi to go by his meter, something that I'd always been told to do, right? Well, some taxis have fake meters. And so he was like, yeah, sure, I'll put this on the meter. And so we arrived at the destination. He charged me what was on the meter, which was an exorbitant amount, but I was none the wiser because I didn't know the exchange rate. I had no means of checking. I hadn't done my preparation beforehand because I was way too relaxed. So what have I learned here? Never trust an airport to have Wi-Fi and make sure that I have everything prepped and planned before I leave the house, no matter how confident I'm feeling about my travel skills. And as part of that preparation, make sure that I have my eSIM purchased and activated on my phone, ready to go before I take off from the UK. And on the topic of eSIMs, I'd like to introduce you to the sponsors of today's video, Surrey, who are the newest and most innovative eSIM on the market right now. So if you don't know, what an eSIM allows you to do is connect to the internet when you're in a foreign country with your own local data package without the need to actually buy a physical SIM and then swap that out with your regular SIM, because that's always been something that's so annoying. So having an eSIM saves time because you don't have to worry about waiting in line at the airport or at a shop or making sure that it's open. You avoid scammers who try to sell you fake SIM cards outside train stations and airports, because yes, that is a thing. And the amazing thing about Surrey in comparison to other eSIM providers is that you can only install an eSIM once. So it eliminates the need for you to install a new SIM on your phone every time that you go to a new country, which is what I've always done previously and it's a little bit annoying. With Surrey, once you have your first eSIM, you just top it up with any of the affordable eSIM plans in over 180 countries. You can get a global or regional plan as well as different data packages depending on where you're going, how long you're going for, and whatever's going to be the most cost efficient plan for you and your trip. And if you're new to eSIMs, like I know a lot of people are, and if you get stuck, they actually have a chat support line available 24/7. And if you do purchase an eSIM and later find out, oh, my device is not compatible for whatever reason with eSIMs, you can get a full refund. So there really isn't any risk involved if it is something that you are unsure about with your particular device. So in preparation for your next trip, you can download the Surrey app for free today. And then just before you leave on your trip, and given my most recent faux pas, I must stress, before you leave on your trip, you can pick the data plan that you want on Surrey. And I have an exclusive discount where you get 15% off your data plan when you use my code backpacking at the checkout. And to go along with this whole mistake of forgetting to download my eSIM before I left my house, I have learned that no matter how much of an experienced traveler that I am, that doesn't mean that I can just be so relaxed about everything when I'm going to a foreign country, because I may well get stung in the arse. I still need to be prepped and prepared before I leave the house and not trust the Istanbul airport Wi-Fi. My second big travel mistake is overpacking. If you have been following the channel for a while, you may remember the days when I would travel with an 85-litre backpack plus a full-sized day bag backpack. That is so much luggage to go on a backpacking trip with. And now on my most recent backpacking trip, I travelled with a 28-litre backpack plus just a bum bag. Now, I am not saying that your backpack needs to be 28 litres or less, but what I'm trying to say is that you never need as much stuff as you think you do. I used to convince myself that I didn't care how heavy my backpack was if it meant that I had everything with me. But it has taken me quite a few years to realise that all of the benefits of packing minimal are: you save on luggage costs, since so many airlines are making you pay for extra checked bags and cabin bags these days. You also have less chance of losing your luggage if you're not checking in a bag. Your bag will be lighter and so much easier to carry, and hopefully alleviate any potential back pain that you might have from a heavy backpack. It will take up way less space than a dorm room, which is ideal because you don't often have a lot of space to yourself in a dorm room, and there's also more chance of the whole bag fitting in the dorm room locker as well. And finally, with a smaller bag, packing up will just always be a faster task because you have less things to pack. So the simple way that you can avoid the travel mistake of overpacking is quite simply using/buying a smaller backpack, because whatever size backpack that you buy, you will fill. Remember that, whether it's big or whether it's small, you will fill it and you'll make it work. So just get a smaller one. If it is your first backpacking trip, I recommend trying to go for a 40 litre. Travel mistake number 3 is overscheduling activities and putting pressure on myself to see everything. And I blame social media for this one. There is this thing on the internet called travel shaming, and it is where people will shame you for not only your travel style and where you are going to and how you like to travel, but also for what you decide to do or not do in the destination that you are in. So you can't say you went to Paris if you didn't visit the Eiffel Tower, take a boat trip down the Seine, have a croissant in the local bakery. You didn't really go to the Philippines if you didn't visit El Nido. How ridiculous! You went on the London Eye and call yourself a traveller in London. What a tourist trap. No, you didn't really travel New Zealand if you didn't get a camper van and go off the beaten track and wild camping like I did. So you went to Thailand and just stayed in the party hostels. That's not how we did it in my day. Who the flipping flip cares how you spend your time whilst you are travelling on your trip doing what you want? Who cares? Why do they care? Why do they have an opinion on your trip? Now, being the chronic people pleaser that I am, for years, I would put pressure on myself to avoid said travel shamers by doing every single thing that there was to do in a destination, whether I was super interested in it or not. And the result of that was me getting extremely tired and burnt out and not fully enjoying where I was and what I was doing, because all I was concentrating on was just ticking things off a bucket list. So the lesson that I've learned from this is, of course, care less about what people say and simply don't listen to the travel shamers who have nothing better to do than to just try and put you down or tell you how much better their trip was than yours because they did this, that and the other, or you didn't do this, that and the other. What I can also do to avoid overscheduling activities is, if I have the time, money and ability to do so, give myself more time in a destination if there are loads of things that I do want to do, so that I'm not super rushed and that I do actually have time to relax in between those bucket list activities. Or if I don't have the ability to add extra time in that destination, whatever I don't do in the time that I'm there, I can simply just say, oh well, that gives me a reason to come back, and I'll actually have new things to do the next time I visit and it will feel like a new place again. And travel mistake number 4 is underestimating costs. Now I'm throwing it back now to my first ever time backpacking. The year is 2013 and I massively overspent. When I was about 3/4 of the way into my round the world trip, I realised that I had run out of money. Now I was in the incredibly privileged position where I could call my parents, ask them if they could transfer me some money very kindly to keep me afloat, which they did, which I was so grateful for. But when I returned home from that backpacking trip, I then spent an entire year of working full-time to pay them back. That's right, an entire year of full-time work in a minimum wage job just to pay them back for that previous trip. I vowed to myself after that I would never let that happen again, and I'm proud to say that I have kept that vow. So how did this happen? I hugely underestimated the costs of that trip, and not only that, but I also got carried away with my spending. I wasn't tracking it and therefore just didn't stick to the budget that I had set. I think I had actually forgotten what my budget was. So the moral of the story here is to better plan your budget, and not only do you have to think about accommodation, travel expenses, activities, food, international travel and domestic travel. You also need to factor in travel insurance, laundry, unforeseen circumstances, souvenirs, alcohol, big one. And whatever your final figure comes to, add on an extra 50%. Because sometimes things don't go to plan. Sometimes things are more expensive than you thought they were going to be. Sometimes you get completely sick of hostel dorm rooms and you want to splash out on private rooms for a while. Sometimes you want to extend your stay in a more expensive destination. It's far better to be safe than sorry. And if you do have money left at the end of your trip, that's great. You can put it towards whatever you're doing next, and that is far better than running out. But as well as doing the prep beforehand, this mistake could also be avoided by tracking your spending. At the moment, I like using an app called Travel Spend. It allows you to set a budget, input all of your expenses in the local currency that you've been spending, and it will convert it into your home currency so you can really easily see where you are with your budget, whether you're over, whether you're under, and like how you want to navigate that. To this day, I'm quite meticulous with my spend tracking, even if now I can afford to go over my budget and not be in a sticky situation, but I still think it's really good to track what you're spending. Just be aware of it. And I've actually made videos of big budget breakdowns for various different countries, which hopefully can help you guys plan your budgeting a little bit better. But that is it for this video. Those are my 4 biggest travel mistakes that I totally could have avoided, and you can avoid them too. I hope this video has helped you perhaps think about traveling a little bit smarter. Thanks again to the sponsors of today's video, Surrey. Remember to download your eSIM before you get to the country and get that 15% discount with my code Overpacking. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.